All right, everybody. Welcome to a very exciting From Screen to Shelf episode. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is dropping this weekend. I'm super stoked about it. I was a big fan of Afterlife, which we will get into later, but we are going to talk about everything Ghostbusters. We're going to talk about Ghostbusters 1, 2, the unmade Ghostbusters movies, the 2016 and now titled or post-titled Answer the Call remake from then. And then we might possibly talk about the Triple X parodies. I don't know. Gabe might be up for that one. And then we are going to talk about Afterlife for sure. So I'm super excited to talk about everything Ghostbusters. That's a near and dear franchise to me. I love the games. I love the movies. It's just a universe that is, I think, has an established reputation for a great reason. Whenever it comes to Ghostbusters, I feel like it caters to all audiences. I feel like anybody from 4 years old to 100 years old can have a great time watching these.
Star-studded cast too. I mean, you got freaking Bill Murray and
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, everyone's there, bro. And it's a fun franchise. I think you're a bigger fan than I am, for sure. I think that I haven't seen these movies in a while. I think the last one I saw was Afterlife when it came out theatrically, so it's been a few years since I've seen that one. But it's a fun franchise. Like I don't downplay it at all. I think it has its place. But we'll get into all the different entries and kind of. I know you wanted to talk about like if the older ones still hold up, like after all these years.
So like we'll start off with 1, which I guess we can also kind of talk about the 4K and stuff like that as well, because like I don't know, bro, those presentations need to get some more modern mastering. They are not the best example of what 4K can do. I don't know if the masters are in bad shapes or the negatives or anything like that, but
I know there's same scans from because I don't remember the Blu-ray. Did it have a 4K scan?
It did, because it was during those waves, like in that preemptive period where like 4K was kicking off and Sony was releasing a lot of 4K on BD and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? Like those sets. I think it's the same master from that one. The HDR makes it look really good, but the grain is fucking distracting, man. Like, and you know, I am not against grain at all, but man, it's overwhelming at points. Like, Jesus, you know, so I know
maybe it is the master or the negative then at that point, because I do remember seeing it. It's been a while since I've seen the 4K for it, but I do remember the colors on the HDR. Like it looked really, really good, especially like their uniforms and everything like that, and the proton or what they call it. They're called proton beams, right?
Yeah,
the proton beams, like all that stuff looked like the HDR really brought it all out. But it was, I do remember it being heavy with grain. I mean, I like grain, so it doesn't really bother me too much, but I don't remember how heavy it was with grain.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. Like I'd put it up there. It's not as it's like Spaceballs. Do you have the Kano Lorber release of Spaceballs? That one's heavy on the grain.
Is it?
But also like the elements aren't. Yeah, it's pretty heavy on it. I mean, it kind of adds it, especially during the desert scenes, and whenever you get to darker scenes, it's pretty jarring sometimes. But it's kind of the same thing. Ghostbusters is a pretty, I wouldn't say gothic movie, but very dark scened movie for the most part. You know,
it's very dim.
Yeah. So it's I think it's more prevalent because of that, you know, like generally during like brighter scenes and stuff like that, grain kind of gets put into the background because you have all this light kind of blasting through the grain. But I think since it is, you know, a darker movie, it's a little bit more grim and stuff like that, at least in the color grading and everything. Outside of whenever you're in like the firehouse and stuff like that, or like their base of ops or a base of operations, it's more serviceable in those instances. But as soon as you get to like them ghost busting, you know, New York and stuff like that, towards like the, you know, and everything like that with who is it Sigourney Weaver? Yeah, it is
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. So like whenever you get towards like the penultimate aspect with Sigourney Weaver and stuff like that, it kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of becomes a little bit jarring, but also at the same time, the HDR kind of just pulls you right back in because of all the like the lights, the colors, everything like that.
It's like maybe it's like it starts looking not like grain, but like more like noise kind of on the image.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel, at least about the first two.
I gotta watch it again. It's been a minute, but I mean, it's. I mean, the first one. I mean, let me pose that question to you since we're starting. I mean, we could start with like 1 and 2 because I mean, you had asked if these still hold up. Like now in 2024 as a franchise, or just like the films in general, like the quality of these films over time. Like you're a bigger fan than I am. I appreciate the franchise. I've seen these movies and they're a lot of fun. But do you think like they've held up over time? Like, do you think I mean, when you go back to this was 86 or 84. I forgot when the
I want
first
to
one
say
came out.
84.
84.
Yeah.
Um,
So
what do you think about that?
So I will say like Ghostbusters 2 is probably my least rewatched. I still have a lot of fun with it because it's a lot less world building and more just like
Come on, bro. You don't want the Statue of Liberty? Like,
yeah, like it's I like it. I like a lot more of what's going on with the ghosts than I do the first one because it just kind of throws you in versus building these characters, you know. That's
yeah.
why I always tend to like some sequels more than other people because it's a lot less world building, which I think is why like some people get more invested into the
Hmm.
originals because you have a lot more character building like you know, there's a classic scene in the very first one where he's talking, Bill Murray's talking to Dan Aykroyd while they're trying to start this whole endeavor and everything. And he says something along the lines of, he was like, what? Everybody has like 2 or 3 mortgages out on their house now. You know what I mean? Like,
I
you
remember
know, it's
that.
just classic, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very fun. I think the thing is like, I don't know if it's necessarily this thing because like, you know, it's like I already said, like Ghostbusters is already like, and it's for all ages. Everybody from
Hmm.
100 down to 4 years old can enjoy it. And I feel like some people like myself that got a hold of these at a younger age and you're growing up with this, it doesn't fall in the camp of like Space Jam where Space Jam doesn't age well almost at all.
Oh
You
no,
know
it
what I
doesn't at
mean?
all.
Yeah, like, you know, that's a nostalgia movie. It's not in that
Hmm.
same camp whenever I'm talking about it like that. But I don't know if maybe it's just the amount of rewatches or if it's like, you know, just the dialogue and stuff like that, where it just becomes a little bit more slower paced than I remember. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a
Like,
movie of its time, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
the 80s,
I
it's
think that's where
still
it
kind
falls.
of, yeah, the 80s was, I mean, I think it was transitioning. I think like early
Yeah,
80s, mid 80s, it was transitioning towards that kind of like just action
yeah,
oriented, kind of faster paced filmmaking. But the early 80s still had a lot of like you said, dialogue heavy kind of,
yeah,
filmmaking.
yeah, exactly. And then I think a lot of people, whenever they watch these, they just want the Stay Puff. They just want the Slimer. They want this. They want that. You know,
And then when
like,
you go back and watch it and you're like, man, there's a lot of dialogue. Like
yeah,
before you get to all this like
yeah.
ghost busting, there's a lot of stuff actually going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where in the camp it falls in, and I think that's why I still have fun with 2 because it's not a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of just, "Here's this." I forget the guy's name, but he's like this demon or whatever. Yeah, he's like this
Oh,
ruler.
yeah, he's like in a painting or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I find that really fun, really goofy. But I think the parts with Sigourney Weaver and Rick Moranis are super fun. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Those ones are really, really good. And the whole cast, like, you know, there's just a lot of chemistry between all of them. And that's really like one of the most redeeming things. The practical effects hold up extremely well in
Yeah,
these
they still look
movies.
great. But
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I think it's I think it's the cast though, man. I think it's like their dynamic that I think that's what has made it kind
Hmm.
of last so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the first one I think the first one still holds up. Like I said, I haven't seen it in a minute, but I think the first one still holds up. But the second one, I would argue maybe I know it wasn't as well received as the first one, and it just
Yeah.
has a lot more. I think it's just a lot more campy, man. I think it has a lot more campier moments, and like in my opinion, less forgiving moments that are just kind of beyond ridiculous. I mean, all of
Yeah.
this is beyond ridiculous. I mean, obviously in the first one, you got the freaking giant marshmallow man like parading around, like
Yeah.
this is all ridiculous. But I guess the second one, it's just like a good example, like you said, it's world building is it like in the first installment and then the second installment you could just have fun,
Yeah.
but I think that they didn't flesh that out really well. I think it was just like let's just do whatever we want. Like if we use Dune, I mean Dune is obviously a different franchise, but part 1 was world building, but part 2 was he really got to play in that world and in that
Yeah.
sandbox and kind of like maneuver the pieces around. And I think they didn't do that with Ghostbusters 2. I think it was just kind of like whatever we can come up with to make it to the box office and make some
Yeah. No, for
money.
sure.
But
Yeah. No, that's very
it's
valid.
lasted for sure. I think it's a franchise that's lasted because of the characters' dynamics. I think that their dynamics for sure have really made this a franchise that's like endured, even with just the first 2 initial movies that came out.
Yeah. And yeah, and I think that's one of the things. Like, it's very unique in that essence. You have great characters. You have great
Hmm.
characters in and of the monsters, the ghosts, the
Yeah.
villains. You know what I mean? Like, just everything about that aspect. And then I think this was like Bill Murray's like real time to shine, just in his
Mhm.
comedic tones and everything like that. Because I think Dan Aykroyd wrote the script, right?
Did he?
I
That may
think
be a fun
so.
fact I didn't know. Let me see. I
Yeah.
have the pages. He did. Wow.
Yeah.
I did
Dan
not know
Aykroyd wrote
that.
the script. Yeah. He's very, very well written in that aspect. You
Yeah,
know what
for
I mean? Like
sure.
he's really good at world building. Cause I'm pretty sure, yeah, and Harold Ramy,
Well, he's
however
into
you say
all
it.
like in real life, like paranormal, like supernatural stuff, isn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like UFOs
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. He's really, really into
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then Ivan Reitman, the director, which he also did Stripes a few years before Meatballs. He directed Ghostbusters 2, and then he did Kindergarten Cop. He did Animal House. Oh, and he's also the same director of Space Jam, dude. I didn't realize that.
No way, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
That's crazy.
I actually
Because
didn't
that one
realize that
didn't,
either.
like you said, that one didn't age well. But it's for me, it's a nostalgic thing, just because I grew
Yeah.
up with Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan, and but
Yeah.
yeah, that movie does not hold up well.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
franchise has though. I think Ghostbusters definitely has. So I mean, like part one. I mean, I think there's a general consensus with part one. I mean, I mean, let me ask you this, because is this, which one is your favorite? Is it part one or
Yeah.
okay? Because I would say that's
Yeah.
everyone's kind of general consensus is part one is the best one. But I think it's just I think the reason it stands out is you start even though it's kind of slow a little bit at the beginning, where everything's kind of coming together. Like you see, I think Egon's at the university doing his thing, and
Yeah.
it takes a while for them to kind of actually unite, so to speak, or
Yeah.
whatever. But like I think the character dynamics and the interplay between the characters until that moment happens, like I think it's really charming. It's like really
Yeah.
funny, and it comes together really well. Like you said, it's just written really, really well. So I think that's what makes the first one stand out to me. Is like, you finally get your little, I can equate it to like an Avengers moment at the end where they're all united and taking down the big baddie, and it feels good and it's fun.
Yeah.
But the first one for sure is still my favorite. I know we're going to talk about Afterlife, but Afterlife I liked a lot as well.
Yeah. I just when it comes to the first one, I don't think there's as big like some people say Ghostbusters 2 is like bad. I don't think there's that big of a difference between the two. You know what I mean? It still has the core comedy, it still has the core
Hmm.
chemistry, it still has a unique villain, it still has ghost busting, it still has the same set design, same set pieces, a little bit more creative freedom in it. I don't think it's just as bad as people say. I feel like it just doesn't age well. It's kind of what it is because I didn't know people didn't like Ghostbusters 2 until the 4Ks were coming out and people were like, "Oh yeah, I only want one. I only want this. I only want that." I was like, I didn't know people didn't like it. You know
The
what I mean?
typical response, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it's that bad where it's like I wouldn't buy it on 4K. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's, at least to me, it's not that level. But
No, for sure.
I think, yeah, when it first came out, obviously it wasn't well received, but I thought over time it was kind of getting, people were warming up to it. No.
That's what I thought. I've just seen some things, especially around that time. Whenever the proton pack, that collector's edition that I
Yeah, I
have,
remember
when
that
that
you
was
had gotten it.
dropping. Yeah, yeah, dude, fucking excited for that one. I hope they come out with another one after Frozen Empire gets its 4K. That'll
Well,
be
I'm
sick. So that
surprised you
way,
didn't see the damn. I know there's a tangent, the popcorn bucket thing.
oh, dude, I need that.
Did
I
you
need
did you
that.
check Phil sold out? I thought it was. I could be wrong, but
It's only at Regal, which I hate when they do that because I don't
Ugh.
step foot into Regals.
Yeah, but I mean, all the other ones do that shit. Like Cinemark had the Scream or the Saw one, I think, right?
Yeah, that's why I never got those. I don't think I have I mean, I think that my Dolby Center is closer to me than a Regal. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, mine are
Yeah.
all like pretty close by. I have a Regal like a few minutes away, a Cinemark a few minutes away, and the AMC is probably the one that's farthest away from me. But I mean, it's accessible.
Yeah.
So
I know
I
what you
mean,
mean.
but yeah, I mean that popcorn, the Blu-ray set was cool, and the popcorn bucket looks pretty dope. I'd get the popcorn bucket if it's still on sale. But
Yeah. I would
dude, yeah, I
definitely
just
get
went
it.
on a tangent with that popcorn bucket. What were you
It
saying? Oh
looks
yeah, you were
dope.
saying like when you first got the 4K set, like people were saying like they didn't want the second one in it. They just wanted a set with just the original.
Yeah, no, they were just saying like they just would probably sell it. They'd do this, do that, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
That's stupid.
Yeah, because I mean
Do the
they're all
whole
fun.
series. Yeah, I mean, do the whole series. Like I don't think. I mean, I've been kind of shit talking part 2. It's not that bad though. It is more campy to me. It is more campy. It does not hold up as well. I think some of the character dynamics are kind of weird too, because isn't Bill Murray in the second one? You have to remind me, right? He's not with Sigourney Weaver in that one.
No, I don't believe she's in it at all.
She is in it, from what I remember. No,
is she? Maybe she has like a very small role. Why do I forget?
Let me see. Hold on. I have it up here.
I also just sent you something on the topic of popcorn buckets. How is nobody talking about that monstrosity that's at AMC for Ghostbusters?
Oh god. So I don't know if you could put that up on the stream. Can you? Does it let
I can probably. Yeah. Here.
I mean, or you could describe it. Well, I mean, that's just as bad as the Dune bucket, in my opinion. Like, people are gonna get ideas, bro.
Yeah, let me see. Make sure. It's a web page image. Oh my god.
It won't let you. I mean, pretty much. I mean, what's the ghost's name? I know.
Slimer.
Slimer. You got Slimer. Just to give you guys a description, Slimer the ghost is the popcorn bucket, but his mouth is all the way up. So you're pretty much like getting the popcorn out of his mouth, but it doesn't look. It doesn't look right.
No, it doesn't. It looks freaking awful, man.
Yeah, it looks. And who is that? That's AMC or?
Yeah, that is AMC, man.
That could be the new trend, bro. Maybe they're just like, how ridiculous can we make these popcorn buckets? And people like you will start making shelves of ridiculous popcorn buckets. You'll have the Dune one, the freaking Ghostbusters one. They'll just make them all crazy looking.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is that the Ecto one looks cool.
Yeah, the Ecto one looks cool. One's pretty dope. I don't know how it works. I don't know if it lights up from what I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be super dope. I would buy it if it lights up, because the Saw popcorn bucket I got, the eyes light up.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool to get something a little bit more unique than just this.
If you could get the Ghostbusters one, put it right next to it, man.
Put it right next to it. I'm gonna take down these banners and just have a shelf of
popcorn buckets.
Yeah, I'm just gonna collect all. Apparently, that bucket sold out, and they're selling for a lot on eBay now.
The Dune one?
Yeah.
Oh god, bro.
Just for the memes, dude. Now you guys should understand why I bought it.
I can't, bro. I don't even know where I'd put that thing. It'd be in my garage, probably.
It sits right here on my tower, dude. $120.
That's ridiculous
on eBay,
bro. I mean, but when you got people trying to sell Aliens on 4K for fucking 100, I sent you guys that link. Someone on and it's $150 with like 4 hours left of bidding. That's
with
ridiculous.
People bidding on it. That's not even the starting bid. That's people bidding on it.
I'm like, bro, can't you guys not wait just like a few weeks and
Yeah.
save yourself like $120? That's ridiculous. But yeah,
that'll be like, just to draw more time, we got to address this. If people start grading movies.
Oh, dude, that too. I was going to talk to you about.
Oh my god! If people
CGC
start
grading,
dude, no, just don't get.
We're going on a quick tangent, guys. Let's give people perspective, because they may not know like what it means to like what grading a movie means, because they may think we're talking about like the actual color gamut. Well, no, I mean, so that isn't so, because I collect some autographs. Like I have autographs for Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale, Tom Hardy, and then I have some comics that are graded. So. There are companies depending on so like for comics it's CGC. People will grade a comic and encapsulate it.
PGX.
And PGX is one. For autographs, a big one is what is it called? It's Beckett, and then you have a PSA/DNA is the company's name, or the authentic, whatever the term is, authenticate autographs. But we just saw a post earlier that was posted in the Discord where someone's trying to sell a sealed copy of Oppenheimer on Steelbook, rated 9.6 from CGC, I think it was, encapsulated for, what was it, $1,200?
12 starting bid.
So, that's the starting bid, bro.
That's the starting bid.
Which is funny, because I brought up the point that it's like, how do you? Because there's so many times I've had steelbooks like that, and then you open it up and it's completely damaged.
Yeah.
So how do you?
Because the perspective of the wrap on it, you know what I mean? That's just wild, bro. It's like, dude, should I send in my Ghostbusters Collector's Edition to go get graded?
Bro, you're gonna get docked points. It's been opened, so you're probably only gonna get like a 7 out of 10.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, how do you grade these? Like, I mean, it's like kind of like the same thing with games. You know, I fall in that same category. Not that
Sure.
like games should be played, not graded and sealed. There's a collector's value for it because like I have Invincible #1,
Mm-hmm.
9.6, and CGC graded, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite comic book of all time. I've had that for years. I even have the first issue of the very first Sonic comic book ever graded
Yeah.
on CGC. The thing is like I'm never gonna read those. I have a readable copy. Those are just display pieces. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Who is gonna do that with a movie? Like, where's the market? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just curious. I get there's a market, like, because people care about like a copy of Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, graded, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sealed. They care
Sure.
about the packaging, Super Smash Bros, whatever the case may be. But the thing is like that Oppenheimer Steelbook, like a third wave just came through Walmart. They were popping up on those end caps where I got like my Weird Al Yankovic. So like that thing's just gonna like, why?
I don't. I think they're trying to. I think there's a market right now where people are trying to force that trend, if that kind of makes sense, right? Where it's like I'm going to start grading steelbooks, um, and I mean, if enough people do it, there's going to be a market for it, man. I mean, that's the sad part. It's like it turns into you're not watching your movies anymore. You're just buying them to try to, you know, make money off of them,
Let me
which
pose
sucks.
this to you.
Yeah,
If you could get that graded copy of Oppenheimer on Steelbook for $80, would you buy it?
a graded copy. So, like, if someone sold like
What we're talking about.
CGC
Yeah.
sealed $80,
Yeah.
I don't think so. No. I mean, I'd have to be like dead. Like if it was like a first wave and there wasn't anything, you know, like I couldn't find a copy of Oppenheimer, then
yeah.
sure, because I'm like a Christopher Nolan junkie, I'd probably do it. But
Yeah.
like when there's been 3 or 4 waves of the damn Steelbook already,
Yeah.
no,
It makes no sense.
no,
Dude, the only thing I could see being worth graded at a point are those mantas you have next to you. You know, like
sure,
those
yeah,
OCs, you know, but
yeah,
that would have
like
to be a very
the
specific thing
premium.
because some people don't open those. You know what I mean? I
Well,
do.
that's the thing too. It's like I some of them are open, some of them are closed. Like because I mean, if you get a one-click box and there's 3 of them in there, like I'll open one because I'm like
Mhm.
I want to see the actual fucking steelbook I just bought.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but like the other 2, you know, it's the only thing different is the slip cover. So like I don't typically open the other 2. I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll keep those sealed and then I have one that's open. But yeah, I don't think that it's not like comics, man. It's not like you can go in to a comic and turn it page by page and
Yeah.
inspect it and make sure everything's okay. These are sealed. And like that Oppenheimer could very well, when you open it, it could be broken on the inside with a disc, you know, that's out of the socket thing. And it's like,
Crushed in on
it's,
the back.
yeah, crushed. Remember the Dune Steelbook I got? Like when we first, it was like when we first
Dude.
met back in the day, bro. Like when I
Yeah.
gotten it in the mail, everything looked fine. And the inside was just super indented and the tabs were
Yeah.
broken and the disc was out and then
Yeah.
I noticed like there was a dent like in the corner, but I only saw all of that after I took out the wrapping.
Yeah.
So I know we went on a weird
That's
tangent. We could
crazy.
probably make a video about that, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Just
yeah,
disc quality and
yeah, disc
case
quality
quality.
and all that. It's
Yeah.
a joke. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, we had to go on that quick tangent because yeah, dude, I think that was the first thing somebody tagged me in the server.
Yeah.
I was just like, why? Why is this a
That's not the
thing?
first one I've seen either. That's I
Really?
think yeah, I saw one for oh my god. It was an out of
Dune?
production steelbook. No, it was one that's actually like it's not available anymore. I forgot which one it was, but they had it CGC graded, which I don't know, man. It's a joke. Plus these waves, I don't know if you saw Groove just released like a whole bunch of steelbooks. Some of them that were out of print for a while, like Clockwork Orange and The Thing. Yeah. He's gonna stop the podcast. He's like, hold on. No, the thing sold out, by the way. If you're trying to get the thing, I already went and looked. It's
God,
sold
all of
out.
them?
I could be wrong, but Clockwork Orange was there. I know
Damn.
yeah, you see him?
I need to stay in the March Madness Steelbook deals. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. I don't remember where it was. Someone posted it. I think it was on Discord, and they said, "Hey, there's a whole bunch of steelbooks that went on sale." So, my point is like, what's the point of getting these graded when you know down the line, months from now, you can get a reprint, or a year or two later, you'll get a reprint of a steelbook. It's not really worth anything at that point. I know it happened with Venom. Venom was a big one where it's sold out, and everyone's like, oh, I got Venom,
Lawrence.
and it's like, and Lawrence, it's like, oh, I got Lawrence, it's sold out, you guys, missed out. And then like freaking how many reprints of Lawrence and Venom have there been?
Dude, no way. They came out with the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. Holy shit, on Steelbook. No, this is super cool because
you grabbing that at Walmart. Oh my god, thank God
it's here. Yeah, I got it for you, Chase. Don't fret, man. But no, they brought back the Lord of the Rings thing that was ultra sold out, dude. That one.
Oh, the from Best Buy.
Yeah.
Oh crap, the golden looking one or whatever.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a very
I remember that was Poltergeist. Is there?
Yeah, Clockwork Orange.
Are they available?
No. Wait,
are they all sold out? Well, I know the Thing's probably
are
not available. Wait, the Thing's available? Because I missed out on that one. Oh,
I missed out on Joker too. They brought all of those back, dude. Joker? Man, they have Southpaw. Shout out Southpaw, great boxing
so that's
movie.
A great movie. My point is though, it's like, look at all those movies, right? That it's like you thought that like Clockwork Orange, that had a very limited, like, I remember when it dropped, that people were bummed.
I couldn't find
it. Yeah, I drove literally like freaking 30 miles.
I think we were messing each other. Yeah, we were all looking for. We all ended up with the standard, I think. Or did you end up getting the Steel?
I got the Steelbook. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I found it 30 miles away, bro. They had one copy left.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that was during COVID. It was like during peak COVID time.
Yeah, it was.
So I mean, these movies are getting reprinted all the time. So what's an Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
Steelbook word. I mean, it's just weird. We could do a whole video, and I know we're throwing a tangent because we're talking about the Ghostbusters set.
Yeah,
but it's just a weird thing. Those sets might be graded. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
and it just throws into a weird paradigm shift in terms of collecting. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters 1. I mean, honestly, I really enjoy that movie. I've seen it tons of times. It's been a while since I've seen it. But I think it holds its own really, really well. I think over time, even now, if you watch it, I mean, because now it's technically, what is it? Oh, it's 30 years old now.
Yeah, actually, yeah. This year, 30th anniversary. 30th anniversary. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that. So, I'd love it. I mean, if they did a Frozen Empire, maybe like a little theatrical run with like Ghostbusters and Frozen Empire, I'd love to see something like that. But it's a solid movie, man. It's creative, it's quirky, it's fun. I think it's held up really, really well because of the dynamics of the cast. Part 2, which that's fun. The one. Yeah, you seem to like it more than I did. I had an issue just kind of like with because it takes place a few years after now. It's been a while since I've seen it. It doesn't take place like 4 years after, 5 years after. And then the Sigourney Weaver, she is in it. It does say she's in it.
Oh, really? Why do I not remember her?
Yeah, because I remember that they weren't together anymore. So Bill Murray's character,
you're right.
They were like separated, and I think that was the problem that I had with it. It was kind of weird because I wanted to see them. Like, I didn't know if she was going to join Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? Like, or some dynamic where they're. But it was just kind of weird that it's like, oh, okay, like we're separated, and that was the whole point of the movie. I think by the end they do get together at the end. But it kind of, everyone's kind of doing their own thing at the beginning of the second one. No,
kinda, yeah. They weren't as close together because like there weren't really that many ghosts and stuff like that. It's kind of how it sets up.
Yeah.
So like they weren't as in demand as they once were.
That's kind of like a part 3 scenario to me. You know what I mean? Like if they ever did make a trilogy where it's like, first 2, they're super close. I could see like the third part being kind of like, they're estranged and they're not. I mean, we're going to get into Afterlife a little bit, but I guess that's where it kind of falls short for me. It's an odd, I think it was an odd plot structure for part 2.
That's and very then
fair. It's just super campy too. Like I don't know why. Like
I love it.
I know that's why you love it, dude. But it's like the slime and the Statue of Liberty and some of the possession scenes. Like it's just kind of quirky and campy at the same time, and it just
that's
kind
fair.
of it just doesn't stick with me. I mean, but I've shit talked it enough. I mean, what do you like about part 2? Like, why do you? So you said part 2 does like hold up over time, or
I think it's just better than people try to give it credit for. Okay. Like I've seen people say it's bad and stuff like that, like what we were prefacing earlier. It's just like I feel like the practical effects were elevated in this one. You know what I mean? Because
For
the first
sure.
one was successful, everything. I don't know if there was more money in general. Let me double check before I speak out of my ass.
I
So
I could
yeah,
see that
it has
happening.
$40 million budget, did 215 million. There really was no reason to
Mm,
never get a part three, which we're going to talk about the hypothetical part three here soon. But the thing is the original had a $30 million budget and did about the same numbers.
mhm.
The original or the second one made about 80 mil less, but that's still not bad. Like if they consider that a bomb, 80 million post advertising, that's still 120, $140 million profit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a lot of fun in it. I don't believe Rick Moranis is in the second one, right?
I don't
No, he is. Yeah, he
remember.
is. It's just I think that's really the biggest drawback is some of these not pivotal characters, but these pivotal secondary characters like Sigourney, Rick
Mhm.
Moranis that had like heavy hitter parts as being a
Yeah.
secondary to like the core four and everything like that. I think that they had like a little bit of a back burner role in this one, more or less. And then I think it
Mhm.
just has to come down to like pretty much what you said. There's that split, there's this rift, everything like that. But it's really the practical effects. I've become a lot bigger on that as I get older. I used to love CGI fests, but as I've just dived into, or as I dive more and more and more and more as I age into older movies and stuff like that, I've become into that like more old head mentality where it's like practical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the better that
Same.
it is, like really the only goofy one are the proton beams. But even then, I feel like that's aged a lot better than a lot of like electricity looking, or
For sure.
photon looking CGI from the time. So I feel like just Ghostbusters 2, it's got a lot of that like little charm, like the library scene. Just like I mean, nothing will ever beat the library scene from the first one.
No. Yeah,
That's a
that's
classic.
a classic, yeah.
That's like you can't really compare it, but like with Gozer, the villain and stuff like that, the painting guy and
Mhm.
stuff. It's just fun. It's just to turn your brain off or even a passive watch type of fun. You're not going to really miss much like if you try to passively watch the very first one. I think they're just different strokes between the two. Like there's
Mhm.
not a lot of lore, not a lot of world building, anything like that. In the second one, well, like you could very easily miss a decent amount of plot by just turning your head or getting distracted to go get some food real quick and leaving it running or taking a bathroom break, right?
Yeah.
You could just miss, oh, what happened? Why are they here? The second one doesn't really move that fast, but I have a lot of fun with it. I mean, I don't rewatch it as much as the first one, but it's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you, with the sentiment of, like, that people hate it now or, like, don't
Yeah.
like it or don't like I don't think it's that bad, you know what I mean? Like, there's this kind of
Mm.
trend, I think, with a lot of series and trilogies and franchises and stuff where it's like, oh, like this one like Godfather, it's like, part 3, I don't need part 3 and that set, like, get rid of it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's and I don't part 3 for Godfather isn't the best to me, but it's still, it's still a decent movie, it's not horrible. And I think that about Ghostbusters too. It's not a horrible movie. It's just super campy. It just kind of threw me off from the vibe and the tone of the first one. Um,
Yeah.
but I definitely would never, land in the camp of like, if I'm buying a Ghostbuster set, give me both movies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous thinking otherwise. So two, I don't think it's probably aged as well as the first one. I
Yeah.
think I mean, it sounds like you really had fun with it, a lot more fun with it. But you don't revisit as much as number one, you said, right?
Mm-mm.
So yeah, there's just something about one that I think captures the essence of what this franchise is trying to be. But yeah, I mean, and a little bit more just to kind of move into part three. I don't know a lot about like the lore of development and what
Yeah.
happened and all that stuff. And you said that there was one like where it was going to take place in hell.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of cool. Did you let me ask you this. Did you ever play the Ghostbusters 2009 game for PS3 and 360?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. So, um I have a courtesy reminder here. I have Den of Geek pulled up just to, speak more intelligently about it. I just remember trying to follow it because I was such a mega fan growing up. So like there was this original like of course we need to acknowledge like the animated show. Animated show was a lot of fun, the one with the gorilla and
Oh,
stuff like
yeah, I
that.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, super fun, super goofy. Got to acknowledge that. Really good time. I've seen every episode multiple times. I grew up with like a little box set of it. But the original third one's idea was like a hellscape, more or less. So whenever it came to, it was going to be Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent. Like Hellbent was essentially going to take place in Manhattan, an alternate version of New York City located in hell itself. But then it's like it becomes too crowded, and it's like so then people are like teleported from this Manhattan into our world and vice versa. So they got to try to get the proper residents in the proper places. The reason that just sounds so exciting is just because like the set design pieces, like everything that would have been going on about that just would have been super cool to see. But the biggest thing is that rough script ended up becoming the Ghostbusters 2009 game that we got, because it continues after Ghostbusters 2, which you can still get. Shout out that game. The game's actually super fun, holds up well. They've re-released it on every console. You can get it right now, Xbox, PC, PS5, whatever you're playing. They have it out. They've remastered it for every generation because it was a pretty well-acclaimed game at the time. It plays well. It's very fun. It's very goofy. You play a new Ghostbuster while everybody else is still kind of doing their thing and coexisting.
Yeah.
So that one is still really, really fun. But yeah, that Hellbent script was kicked around for several years. It was like, it stayed in it for like 13 years and just said that it had been pretty much in limbo. Yeah. So we ended up getting the 2009 game. It got a second win. People wanted more Ghostbusters, which led us to probably what a lot would consider the best of the series, the 2016 Ghostbusters.
Which is the one, just to preface for everyone, I have not seen. Which I'm interested in seeing your take on it, because I think you're speaking of it not highly, but I saw the trailer. Yeah, I saw the trailer and I was just like, no. I was like, this is not what, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I just kind of leaned on the trailer a little bit too much, which, it's happened. Like what's the movie that I told you to watch, Dungeons and Dragons, like where that trailer was like freaking god awful, and that movie's freaking love it. It was like one of my top movies that year. But just I don't know. I mean, you could tell me about 2016 because I didn't watch it, and I just got really weird vibes watching the trailer where I was like, this is not what everyone wanted, especially after all that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it it's definitely goofy. It's got a great cast. All of these people in this movie are just hilarious. It's got Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and it has Chris Hemsworth as like the receptionist, like reverse role. Everything's kind of more or less gender swapped. My only real complaint with it is like everything is overacted SNL style, because these are a lot of like SNL actors. Yeah, which is okay. They're funny ass people. They are funny. Kate McKinnon, I love her. She's just weird as fuck, and I love her when she pops up in something. She's just goofy. I know she's not everybody's flavor of tea and everything like that, but
Kate McKinnon, yeah. I just spaced out. I was like, wait, which one is that? Yeah, Kate McKinnon,
Weird Barbie.
I love her, dude. Yeah, dude, she's great. Honestly, like whatever she's in, I think she's hilarious. I think she does a fantastic job.
She just plays like just the perfect crazy kooky lady, like, and that's what she is in here. She's like the mad scientist. She's like the why can't I think of his name? The scientist, Igor. She's Igor from the original, And then you have Melissa McCarthy that more or less plays not Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. And then you have Kristen Wiig that more or less plays Dan Aykroyd's character. And then Leslie Jones plays, why can't I think of his name? Winston. Yeah, you have Leslie Jones that more or less plays Winston. Leslie Jones, hilarious. There's actually a part in this movie that had me pretty like hysterical in laughter. It's goofy. I just think that like they spent a lot more time, and that might be why some people really don't care much for the movie. They spent a lot more time overacting than just pushing what they needed to do. It's pretty much Ghostbusters 1, where it's a lot of world building and everything like that. But instead of world building, they kind of expect you to kind of be familiar with it, tuning into this movie, and just want to give you these kind of more or less over the top characters. I think it would have been
set
cool
in that universe. Like, so, like,
no,
is this it's its own separate thing? Like the original Ghostbusters never existed, kind of deal.
No, I don't believe so, and I could be forgetting because it's been a couple of years since I've seen it. But the biggest thing about it is, I don't remember. I know Bill Murray has a cameo in it, but I don't remember if he has a cameo as like an OG Ghostbusters or if it was more like, oh my God, Bill Murray's on the screen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think they throw a little joke, but if I could be manifesting things in my head or something like that, or maybe confusing things with Afterlife, because I know they go through like old tapes and stuff in Afterlife. And, but like I think something similar happens in this one, but I'm not sure. I could be just talking out
Yeah,
loud,
because
but
I
I'm
don't know if
pretty
it's
sure
labeled as a. I don't have it up, but I don't know if it was labeled as a. It's
it was a
labeled as a
complete reboot.
remake. Yeah,
Yeah.
it says remake. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And let me preface too by saying, because I don't want people using this against me. It's not because it's 4 female Ghostbusters, guys. That's not why I didn't want to see it. It's one of those things where it's like, you're waiting, like you said, for part 3. I wasn't delved into the whole, what's going on with part 3 and why it wasn't produced. But
Yeah.
like after all these years, you hear Ghostbusters movies being made. And I was like, oh shit, like that's pretty dope. Right. And then this is what I saw was this trailer. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's what
Valid.
kind of gravitated me away from it. Like Kate McKinnon, I think she's freaking fantastic. You know what I mean? I think she's a great actor. And she's probably one of it when she was on a SNL. She was probably one of the best actors working on an SNL.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so it's not because
Leslie,
it was female characters. It's just just did not give me the vibes. I'm like, I really wanted, and I think most people too wanted just part 3. They wanted to see the story continue, and we didn't get that. So it was kind of underwhelming when I saw that trailer. But maybe I should check it out before Frozen Empire.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I don't think you're gonna have like the greatest time with it, because like there's just some weird choices, some weird dialogue, and then it's not as like monster heavy as I kind of wish I kind of wished for. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, like at least 3 or 4 years, so I could be rough remembering, but I just remember like anything Leslie Jones is in, I love her character. Melissa McCarthy's hilarious, like in Happy Time Murders, if you've ever seen that.
No, I've never seen it.
You know what I'm talking about though, like the Sesame Street, adult movie. So that one's really, really good. And Kate McKinnon, I cannot say enough good things. Kristen Wiig is pretty funny in everything that she's in. So you have a great cast. I just don't think that it should have been like I guess we can address that too, like with what you were already talking about. Like I gave this a fair shake. The only thing that kind of off put me about it is like whenever the advertising is down your throat about a specific thing. Like my thing is like I could give a shit less that it's 4 female Ghostbusters. I got excited because those are 4 actresses and humans that I think are hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was excited for it. You know what I mean? So like that was the only thing that was off-putting. It's like you're really shoving this part down my throat. I'm gonna go see it anyways because all 4 of these people are great, hilarious, and they've always made me laugh. But like, why is this your agenda? Like, show me like what you're doing to pay homage to the original, since this is your universe. Get me in a way where you are portraying this world more so about like what is Paul Feige doing? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what I wanted. Like, oh, but all it was is like I got 4 female Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
dude, that's great. I love every single one of them. But like, what are you doing with the world of Ghostbusters outside of that? You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I had nothing against it. Like, it was just my thing. I think the whole marketing thing was like Stay Puffed, if I remember right. Like, they have their own like, I think it's in the trailer. So it's not really a spoiler, but they have like their own variety of Stay Puffed. I don't remember. Oh, if I remember right, dude, I think they actually fight the Ghostbusters logo. I think if I remember
it's
right,
like their big baddie or something.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I could be again talking way out of my ass, but I really remember that being a thing because that's not an Afterlife, right?
No, that's not an Afterlife from what I remember.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's this one.
And I agree. I think that it's because when I wasn't into at the time, like when this film was being developed, all I heard was like it's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out, right? So I didn't know it's going to be a remake, and that this could have been. I would have had the same reaction if it was 4 dudes, 4 different guys as the Ghostbusters. I would have been like, that's not what I want. You know what I mean? So it's like I wanted part 3. So like, and maybe I missed that when this was in development, where people were saying it's a remake. It's not going to be the original cast because I wasn't that deep into it. But I'll give it a fair shake, like you said. Maybe I'll watch it and see. But I think the general consensus is people didn't like it as much as part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I mean, shout out to Kate McKinnon again, man, because I think she's
freaking hilarious in this movie,
she's hilarious, dude.
She carries the movie to me, man. Her and Leslie, because like Kristen Wiig isn't as funny as like I'm used to her being. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Melissa McCarthy's over the top as usual, but it's like the dynamic between Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones in this movie it's just unreal,
It's
man.
good.
It's just unreal. Yeah. And I mean, I would say it's the worst Ghostbusters, but I love them all. So that's not
Yeah.
really saying a lot. You
Yeah,
know
it's
what
like
I
me
mean?
saying my worst Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, I love them all. And
Yeah.
and the thing is, I've been on record saying this, like, I always like to give reboots fair shakes. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because I mean, not always, but they're usually remaking, rebooting because a particular person with a particular script or a particular director with a camera has a very particular vision that they're trying to
Yeah.
portray. And I'm always excited. Okay, cool. I've spent, it's like I already have two Ghostbusters. What are you going to do differently? But
Mhm.
I think like this movie, I would probably say is a little bit underrated had we not gotten Afterlife, which I think is a perfect segue to it because
Yeah.
Frozen Empire dropping this weekend as of this recording. So I'm excited. I got Dolby tickets. I'm excited, bro. The Proton Pack in Dolby. Fuck.
I gotta talk
You
to you guys
know,
about that too because I went to go see Dune in Dolby.
quick 30
We'll
second
do.
thoughts.
Dolby's amazing. I think the
Yeah.
sound's incredible. I just still prefer IMAX. I prefer IMAX in the sense. I guess it depends on what
Shame.
you want.
Yeah.
You're an audio guy though. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think Dolby is very much like that's. Dolby kills IMAX audio 100%.
Yeah.
Like my seat was shaking when the worms were
Dude was
popping
like,
out and the final. Yeah, dude, it was like me and my brother were looking at each other like, oh crap, like this audio is like incredible.
yeah.
But I didn't get like when I saw the first viewing in IMAX, like it was just it wraps around you, bro. It's this this
Yeah.
giant kind of peripheral kind of thing where it's like you're in there, and I think I appreciate that a little bit more because IMAX audio is it's really solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's up from just your conventional movie theater. So for me, I like that experience of just being kind of like absorbed by it.
Yeah.
If IMAX and Dolby came together, dude, like it'd be like the best thing in the
Yeah. It'd be
world,
great.
100%. But yeah, I mean, this should sound amazing in Dolby for sure. Like the proton
Yeah.
packs and the ghosts and
It'll
everything. Like
sound
you're gonna have a
great.
killer time. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
an amazing experience.
Dude, actually, let me tell you about this because I kind of want to share this with everybody else too. But I guess like the reason why IMAX is just a tiny bit underwhelming, it's great, big screen, right? There's this place where I'm from, and people that are from the same area will realize what I'm talking about. But way back when the Batman v Superman trailer, I don't know if you remember, it leaked on the internet like
Mm-hmm.
a week before it was supposed to go live.
Yep, I
But
remember.
the week that I think it was a whole week early. So they held a special screening event. I believe it's called the Omni Globe, back where I'm from. And it's a globe screen, dude. It's a
Mm,
globe screen. And they show movies there. They do this, they do that, but it's a giant sphere. Think of like the Vegas sphere. It's not, I don't think it's
mm,
that big, but it's
yeah.
massive, dude. So I got invited to go see that. I still have the posters from there where it's like, the torn, like,
Oh,
like
that's
the
dope.
colored paper and stuff like
Yeah.
that, construction paper painting. And dude, being encapsulated by Batman saying, "Do you bleed? You will," was like unreal, dude.
It,
You know what I mean? So like that more 360 screen versus flat, it's just unreal experience, man. And comparing that to Dolby, that place is great, and I think it's one of a kind. There might be other places, but that was like quite crazy when I went and saw that. That
I
was being wrapped in
I
it.
can see why, and I think it just depends on.
Yeah,
I guess preface saying like it depends on the IMAX screen near you, right? Because you have the
yeah,
LIMAX screens, which are like the smaller ones. Like there's
yeah,
definitely there. I have 4 or 5 IMAXs in where I live. The one I went to, it was our original 143 IMAX screen, so
yeah,
it's pretty fucking massive. Like it's huge, and even though the film was projected on one, I forget what it is, like 190 or something like that, the smaller IMAX ratio,
yeah,
it still, just because that screen is just so freaking huge, it still had that impact of like, holy crap, like this is insane, this is huge. But
yeah,
yeah, if I went to like one of the other locations here, I definitely, some of them are like, I'm like, this isn't that big, like this isn't like
yeah.
really a huge experience. So it really depends on where you go and what size IMAX screen you have. If I had a smaller IMAX screen and that's all I had, I'd probably go to Dolby.
Because Dolby's bigger
100%.
than traditional too, not by much, but it's bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
And I mean,
not
with
quite
Dolby, you got
IMAX,
the
but
Dolby
bigger than
Vision
regular.
and everything. Yeah, so like
Yeah,
It just depends. Like, yeah. So if you don't have anything like that near you, where it's like just a massive screen, the one I went to was pretty freaking huge.
Yeah,
So it just depends. But I mean, with Ghostbusters on Dolby, you're not going to go wrong with that, dude. Like that movie's going
dude,
to
it's
look
gonna be
amazing, especially with the Dolby
great.
Vision too.
Yeah,
It's gonna be. I don't know where I'm going to see this actually. I'm kind of. I need to think about it. I might
yeah.
go. Is this even out on IMAX? Frozen
I can check
Empire.
for you. Tell me real quick while I'm looking that up.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts whenever you first saw Ghostbusters Afterlife? Because I know some people. I really don't see how nobody could like it.
Dude,
It's the perfect
I
homage.
thought it was a lot of fun. I really
Yeah,
liked it, and I think before rolling, we were talking about this a little bit. We pulled up the actress's name,
McKenna
McKenna
Grace.
Grace. Dude, she made that movie for me
Yeah,
100%. And I know it sounds kind of weird because it's like, everyone's going to talk about obviously the original cast coming back for that last bit, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But she really did something with that movie where her character was just super charming, super funny, like the socially awkward aspect of it. So many moments where she made me laugh. Like I really liked the whole concept of her being, oh my God, whose granddaughter is she?
Spengler.
Yeah, Spengler's granddaughter. Like I loved that whole concept because it ties you in. It has that thread to the original, right? Like you have someone who's like related to like original Ghostbuster, but at the same time, it's like fresh. Like they don't know what the hell's going on. They're just thrown
Hmm.
into this environment, and like she literally made that movie for me.
Yeah,
It's I mean it's still a great movie. I think Paul Rudd does a great job. The rest of
he's
the cast
great.
does it. Yeah, they all do a fantastic job. And um the scene with the car, man, when you get the car coming back and they're hanging off the
Dude,
side, that it's so
so
it was
yeah.
really really well done. There are some weird moments, you know what I mean? Like with I think there's another possession scene here with like Paul Rudd. Like
Yeah.
it gets kind of weird. And
Yeah.
there are some like weird moments like near the climax of the movie when they get to like the ghost lair, because this is Gozer. It was the Gozer, right?
I'm
The
pretty sure.
Like this
Yeah,
is
because
like
it
the
was an
big,
original.
is the original Ghostbusters. It wasn't Gozer. It was like the servants of
Gozer was
Gozer,
in
I
the
think.
second. Yeah.
Was
Gozer
he
was
in the second? I
the
thought it was someone
yeah.
else in the second. No.
I'd
Oh
have to
wait,
double check.
let me see. Hold on. I have it up just because we were talking about it. I remember it was like a painting from like something, but it was. I don't think that was Gozer though.
Oh, it wasn't?
No. Yeah, I don't think that. Blah 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 blah. Ghostbusters have been sued, put out of business after destruction caused during their battle with the deity. Gozer the Gozerian. Yeah, I don't think this is. Yeah, I think
Oh,
it's like
so yeah, it was
another.
the first one. I was getting my villains confused.
Yeah, no, it's all good, bro. But I think this one was Gozer. I could be wrong. Maybe Afterlife isn't Gozer.
No, it's
But
not.
yeah, I mean, but whenever they find the
Or
big
no, yeah,
baddie's
he is.
lair,
He
is
is. Yeah, because
yeah,
they're the people. The Gozer's the one that they restrain with their proton packs in that little like towards the climax at the end.
yeah.
Because
That
remember they all
now it's
come
coming
in.
together.
That was the moment, bro. Like
Yeah, then
whenever
you
you
get
had
your
the
little Avengers moment at the end with
yeah,
like
bro,
everyone
that was
coming in to
great.
help. Like that,
Yeah,
I don't know why people. I mean, I know some people were crapping on this movie. I had fun with it. I thought it was a blast.
I
I
don't
had
see
a
a
good
flaw.
time. Like I said, it gets kind of weird and campy at the end for me. That's the only
Yeah,
flaw I really had with it. But I really want to commend McKenna Grace, dude. I think she did a freaking phenomenal job. Like that,
heartfelt.
yeah, just super heartfelt performance. And it's going to be interesting seeing. I was talking with a buddy about this, Frozen Empire, because now, like what you had mentioned too before we rolled, she's older now. Like she's freaking almost an adult, which is mind boggling to me because I remember her being so young for the first one. So like I'm hoping she still has that kind of charming, quirky, socially awkward aspect with her character for Frozen
Yeah,
Empire, because that's going to be big for me. If that's not there, that Frozen Empire may suffer a little bit. But yeah, man, I mean Afterlife, I think it's a blast, dude. And a new setting, I think it's kind of refreshing seeing a
yeah,
different setting, outside of New York and getting placed in the middle of nowhere, even though
yeah.
like you said,
Oklahoma. Dude,
Oklahoma with
okay,
the
let me
mountains.
address that. Let me address that. Why the hell does Oklahoma have mountains? I know they filmed it near Calgary or something like that, like up
Mhm.
in Canada, but man, Oklahoma doesn't even have a hill. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have a hill out that side of the states
It
and
looked like
stuff
the
like that.
desert. It looks like the south. Almost
Yeah.
like some parts look almost like south. It's weird. It looks like Oklahoma, like some landscape, and then thrown with
Yeah.
like some desert landscape from like the
Yeah.
southwest. It's like a weird blend.
somebody's gonna have the wrong mix of how Oklahoma looks, because that's definitely not it. It's tumbleweeds around there and like very tiny buildings and not a lot of
Yeah.
people. I mean, they
But
got that
I
part
mean,
right, like the desolate town aspect. They got
I
that
like the
right.
desolate town and the house too. I think they
Yeah,
really killed it with that house.
yeah,
I think that was a cool set piece. But I mean, what
yeah.
did you think about Afterlife?
Oh, I loved it, man. I didn't see a single flaw. I think I think they could have trimmed a little bit of fat on it. You know what I mean? Like there's just some
Yeah.
scenes, like the Paul Rudd dynamic and stuff like that towards the beginning. I feel like just runs on a little bit too long, and the
Hmm.
things with like the mom and Paul Rudd's character, I think it's just a little bit like maybe 3 or 4 more minutes shorter for like just pacing. And I feel like it could have been maybe that could have like appeased people's interest or something like that a little bit more. But I mean, the new cast, the new Ghostbusters, the kids, everything, they're freaking phenomenal. They do great work. Um, they're just really, really good. Just like you said, McKenna Grace, especially like like the little Avengers moment at the end where everybody's
Hmm.
reunited and stuff like that, and they come in to take down Gozer and stuff like that. It's just unreal, man. Like, dude, I remember getting chills. Like,
Yeah.
that is really. I have yet to find in any movie. Somebody please drop a comment down below. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you feel otherwise. But that is the best way I've ever seen an homage played to somebody that passed away. You know what? Without
You know what?
disrespecting
Yeah,
their
that's a
legacy.
really solid. Yeah, I think that was done really, really well and like
Like, yeah,
respectfully well done too. Like
yeah,
yeah, I agree with you. I'm trying to
yeah,
think of other ones off the top of my head, but it's like, yeah, because I was kind of worried at the beginning
same.
because right at the beginning they mentioned like, oh, like it's like something about like it's his property or something, and
Yeah,
I was like, this is gonna get kind of weird.
yeah, exactly.
um, but yeah, it's just so well done and a very tearful kind of moment at the end too when when he says because he kind of reconciles with everyone at the end too, like
Yeah,
with the Ghostbusters and his daughter because McKenna Grace's mom is it's his daughter,
yep,
right? So yeah, and then I think there's that plot thread in the film too where she felt like he kind of abandoned him, right?
yeah,
But then she finds that room with like all the pictures of her, and he's been kind of keeping tabs with her, and
yeah. Like he
yeah,
cares and stuff.
yeah, just a very cool like I like how all that whole emotional subplot kind of played out.
Yeah, exactly. I just man, it really solid, very, very fun. And I mean, it did really, really well. This movie came out around peak pandemic time where like theaters really hadn't like recovered to the fullest degree.
Hmm.
Budget 75 mil, made 204. So I'm happy that they're giving it a second
That's
chance,
a
even though it's
really low budget for what I think, well, at least for what I saw. Like, I
yeah,
mean, I feel like they really squeezed that money because it looks to me like $125 million movie, maybe even hundred
yeah.
fifty dollar million
And
dollar
this
movie.
Frozen Empire is 100 mil. So we'll see how much further
Really?
they can get. Yeah. Cause I mean, it could have also been, I've been doing a lot of research on like budgets and stuff like that lately. And apparently, like they can get further through tax reimbursements, and
Mm,
they're technically spending more money than what sometimes they're leading on, because like filming in Calgary, they could have gotten a $20 million tax break or whatever
yeah,
the case may be, or a tax credit or whatever it is. They might be spending 95 million, but it comes out to 75 million post breaks and stuff like that because they got money back. So I mean, it could have been, sometimes, I mean, maybe Godzilla was funded on pure tax breaks, and
that's
you
still
know
the
what I
gold
mean.
bar standard, man.
Yeah, no, for
That every
sure.
movie has to live up to. But I mean, still, I mean, we're just going off of obviously the information we have. But 75 million, like I think that's honestly they really killed it with that budget
I
because
agree.
the set pieces look great, the visual effects are great, like cinematography is great. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a killer movie, dude. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think that's really what I was looking for the 2016 version. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just even though it's not a direct sequel, it's still within that universe, and it still has threads and ties to it that all kind of come together at the end.
Yep.
So yeah, Afterlife, I really liked it. I mean, we can talk a little bit. I mean, we don't know a lot about Frozen Empire, obviously.
More or less,
I
what are
mean,
your
have you
hopes?
seen the trailers for it? Because I know you don't
Nope.
watch trailers. Really?
Nope.
You have not seen the
Going in
trailers
blind.
for it.
I just
So
heard
yeah,
Ice. Frozen
Ice.
Empire.
Well, yeah,
Looks cool. The
Frozen
poster looks
Empire.
awesome. It was like an homage to Ghostbusters 1, more or less. Looks like they're back in the big city and stuff like that.
So you know
I
about
could be
that part
wrong.
then.
Yeah, I'm just going based off the poster.
Yeah, so like yeah, it is. I mean, from what I get a sense, it's very much kind of going back to its roots of New York City.
Nice.
Um, I'm hoping. I like I said, I want to explore more with McKenna Grace's character. I think that her character is freaking solid, man. I think they did a great job with that. And more with the original cast, because I get the vibe that the original cast is a little bit more
Involved.
prominent and involved. So I'm hoping that plays out. The Frozen aspect has me intrigued and worried at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like it's like it's creative, but it's like you have to pull it off a very in a very creative, cool way. So I'm excited for it. Ever since I saw the first trailer, I think it looks good. But they really haven't shown a lot either, to be honest with you, man. I mean, there's been like little at least I've seen both trailers, and there's a lot of little sneak peeks with the ghosts and the villain and everything, but it's mainly just tidbits of everyone just kind of ghost busting, and like you really don't get a sense of what's going on or what the plot is at all. So I'll commend the trailers for that, because they're really not giving away too much. But yeah, man, I just want I do want more with McKenna Grace's character. I think that she honestly was the kind of core or the pillar for the first one for me. That kind of, she's like the thread that like links the old movies into the new movies. She's kind of like a like we had that Scream podcast. She's like Melissa Barrera in a way, and Jenna Ortega, where it's like, or Melissa Barrera specifically, you're linked back to Billy, to part one. But this is like a new, fresh take. And I think that's the role that she's taking here. So I do want to explore her character a little bit more, and also see like what the hell the Ghostbusters have been up to, dude. Like what since Afterlife. I hope they go into that a little bit more. And it's not just like we're just picking off, you know what I mean? It's just picking up and seeing what they're doing now. I want to see what's been going on between this movie and Afterlife. So those are my hopes for the movie. But it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, what are your hopes when you see, because you only see the posters, obviously. What are you looking forward to with Frozen Empire?
I just want them to keep the momentum of the story while not also just forgetting the world building that they just made so pivotal in the very first one, or in Afterlife, because that's going to be its biggest key to success, is continuing to build these and make me care about them. You made me care about them in the first one. Don't make me stop. Don't give me, like, I know this might be a little bit of a, not a controversial take, but a hot take. Don't give me too much of the older generation. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I agree with that. You've got to segment it out. You know what I mean? Give me enough. Don't just be like, here's Bill Murray, and then kind of forget about the new generation you're introducing me to. The Bill Murray's not going to be around, forever, right?
Yeah.
These people could carry a Ghostbuster franchise for who knows? You know what I mean? I really am invested in their characters. I'm really invested in the world that they're trying to give me. The lore is really good. Again, I can't say enough good things about how Afterlife really, like, that's one of the best requels I've seen. You know what I mean? Everything, and the way to pay homage to somebody who's unfortunately no longer with us. I have yet to see a better way of doing that and being so upfront with it. But I really just want to see more, and I'm excited that they're transitioning to a different city and stuff like that, to give you more of like, hey, ghost busting in this environment, more or less like, here's another Ghostbusters origins, because they did it without making it feel like the first one, while also making it kind of follow the same tropes of the first one. The goofiness with Paul Rudd's character and stuff like that. Him kind of being, hey, this, and this. You've never heard of Ghostbusters, that and that. That was really cool. And then, them kind of forming what they become. So yeah, I love the new cast. I'm invested. If as long as this one does well and they keep putting quality out and they don't care about just pure quantity, I'm down for them to keep on putting out with this new cast, because they're great. They're really good.
I think they need to do, and I keep using Scream as a comparison just because that's another franchise that's had its requels. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I think they need to do what Scream 6 did. I think Scream 6 did a good job of branching out, like, with the new characters and focusing in on them. But like, there were still, just the subtle threads of the original franchise. And I think, Bill Murray and everyone else, like, they need to just kind of, like you said, they just need to be kind of subtle threads that are there to support what the new franchise is now. It's the new franchise is these new characters. So as long as it's not becoming, like, I hope they don't use this as a platform for like, this is the part 3 that that we should have given you guys, and we're going to focus on the older cast. I mean, they've had their time. They've had their chances. This is a new generation, so I think it's cool that they're involved. But yeah, the new cast needs to kind of definitely be the prominent, like, focus of the movie. So
I agree.
Yeah, but I'm excited for it, dude. It looks like a lot of fun, and I don't know how you haven't seen any trailer for it. I saw the trailer like right when it dropped. I thought you would have too, with how much you
No,
love Ghostbusters, man.
I
I don't know
love it.
how do you
It
hold
is an
out when
IMAX.
it's is it an IMAX?
Yeah, it is an IMAX. I just hold out because, like, being surprised. I'm gonna go see it either way. So why do I really care what the trailer looks like? I'm just gonna be surprised by absolutely everything I see versus being like, oh, that was in the trailer. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go see it anyways. Especially
Yeah.
for movies like that. I think like outside of like our trailer reaction videos, the last like trailer that I watched was just because of the way Godzilla looked was Godzilla X Kong. You know what I mean? Whenever that one dropped, because Godzilla looked so weird and Kong had like the metal hand and stuff like that.
Transformer hand.
Yeah, the Mega Punch hand.
Oh
But
god,
are you
dude.
gonna go see it this weekend?
Yeah, Frozen Empire?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably watch it either Friday or Saturday. I gotta tell my wife about it.
Perfect.
She enjoyed or she enjoyed Afterlife too, so she'll probably be excited to watch this one.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so we'll definitely have a review up for that, guys, once we share our thoughts. And you're gonna go see it IMAX, and I'm definitely gonna go see it in Dolby. So we'll have our two different thoughts on that one.
But I mean, yours is probably Dolby's gonna win out, dude, because I'm not gonna go down the IMAX where I saw Dune. It's a longer drive for me. It's like 30-40 minutes to get to that like big screen. I'm not gonna drive 40 minutes to go see Ghostbusters. I'll do it for Dune, but I'm not gonna do it for Ghostbusters.
You're gonna go to just the standard screening?
There's an XD theater near me for Cinemark. That's like their IMAX, so I'll probably see it there.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other closing thoughts on Ghostbusters, my man?
No, man. I'm excited for Frozen Empire, and we'll give you guys that review hopefully early next week. I don't know if Will's watching it. We gotta talk to Will to see if he's gonna watch it this weekend. I know he's been pretty busy, but hopefully all of us can get on there. But if not, we'll definitely do a review for it and drop it as soon as we see it.
Absolutely. Look forward to that review, guys. Check out our YouTube for more content if you're fans of this. And as always, guys, we'll see you next week on another From Screen to Shelf podcast episode. See you guys later.
See you guys next week.